boy, the Big Rob Theory. I have a special guest with me. My boy, Anthony Perez, is joining me for this review. This movie was one of the best movies I have personally ever seen. In a lot of my reviews, I say that this is one of the best movies, or this might be a great movie, or one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. This movie in particular is such a great and fantastic film, especially for those who love video games. Ready Player One. So before we get into my segment, I want to start off with my boy Anthony and get his view on this movie. So let's hear what he has to say.
And all of Robbie's viewers, a big thanks to you, my friend, for having me here in this video to talk about Ready Player One, a Steven Spielberg film, and it's in the long list of films that I'm definitely excited to review over on my channel and do a full review, but I'm more than happy to do a quick, short, and sweet version of that review here on your channel, man. Thank you again for having me in this video. Yeah, like I mentioned, this film is directed by Steven Spielberg and stars people like Ty Sheridan, Olivia Cooke, Ben Mendelsohn, and so many other talented people, and it's just a visual spectacle. Now, I'll go ahead and say right now, I have no knowledge of the book that this is based on. I have not read the book, so this is solely going to be my thoughts on the film and not at all anything to do or any sort of comparison with the books. Now, I'll go ahead and start this off by saying that when I saw this in theaters, I was absolutely blown away on a visual level. I thought the film was completely stunning. I love the CGI, I love the action, I love the spectacle of it all, and I just loved all the references and all kinds of things that were jam-packed into here that were just filled with pop culture references and cameos and different things like that. I feel like they handled it so well, and I think that if you were even a slight fan of anything in pop culture, there is something for you in this film. Now, I did walk out of the film thinking that the story was cool, but I was not absolutely in love with the story. And on my channel over a year ago, I made a video that I talked about the power of rewatching films and why I feel rewatching films are so important. And this film is a perfect example of that. Like I mentioned, I did really enjoy the film the first time I saw it, but I didn't find myself completely in love with the story. I liked it, I thought it was cool. As a fan of video games and a fan of fantasy and sci-fi, there was a lot there for me. But I walked out just thinking that the story was cool and I wasn't completely in love with the story. I was more in love with the action and the overall visuals of the film than I was the story. But this is the perfect example, like I just mentioned, of a film that upon rewatch and upon rewatch and upon rewatch, I fell more and more in love with this film. Visually, this film is stunning, and I think that that's really the strongest part of this film. It's really beautifully done, this film, on an overall level, and Steven Spielberg just knows how to direct action, how to direct spectacle, and how to direct wonder. He has so much wonder and whimsical feelings in his films, and this film is no different. But yeah, over the course of rewatching this film, I've seen it probably 4, 5, 6, 7 times outside of the theater. I want to say it's closer to 6 or 7 times, and every time I've watched it, I've thoroughly enjoyed it more and more and more. I've become more attached to the story and the characters, and on an overall level, I just think this is a film that rewatches definitely just helped my enjoyment and my love of this film. So without a doubt, I enjoyed it the first time I watched it, but I just grew to love this film more and more with every single watch. And I think part of that is all of the stuff that this film has to offer visually. There's so many references and Easter eggs and hints and nods and things like that that I just started to get more and more ingrained in when I was watching the film. I started to notice more, I started to get more attached to certain things, and on an overall level, this is just definitely a film that I have such a great time with. Every time I go and watch it, there's always something new to pick out. There's small little moments where somebody in this Ready Player One world will be, I think they call it the Oasis in the movie. In the Oasis, you can be essentially anybody that you want, and I love the fact that you can have somebody who is somebody like Freddy Krueger, and then they can be holding a weapon that's from something else, or you can have somebody who is a whole different thing that's from some other pop culture or geek culture thing, and then they're holding something or they have something on that's from another pop culture or geek culture thing, because it's supposed to be this huge world of customization and kind of being able to do whatever you want. And as a huge fan of video games and as a fan of so many geeky things, I think that this film does all of that so well. So yeah, that's gonna be my thoughts on this film. Again, thank you, Robbie, for having me here in this video, man. I'm really excited to eventually get to review this over on my channel with a more full review. For anybody who's interested, if you go over to my channel, I have movie reviews, vlogs, and all kinds of things. A big thanks to Robbie. Definitely keep supporting his channel, guys. I appreciate all you guys for listening to this segment. I'm going to hand it back to Robbie now, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Again, thank you to my boy Anthony for joining in this review. I appreciate it, man. Guys, his information is going to be in the description box below, so definitely subscribe to his channel if you aren't. Check him out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Imagine you can put on a pair of goggles, put on a little bit of a suit, maybe just the top half, maybe a full suit, hop into a virtual world where you can basically be anyone or anything you want and pretty much do anything you want as well. That's what this movie is about. From start to finish, we have a lot of iconic video game characters. Not to mention, the soundtrack is amazing. The vibe that they went with this movie is perfect. So let's get into the characters. Our main protagonist's name is Wade Watts. In the virtual world, or in the Oasis, he is called Parsival. Next, we have the Oasis character H, which is actually played by a female named Helen Harris in the movie. That's Parsival's best friend in the Oasis. Next, you have Samantha Evelyn Cook, or in the Oasis, she's called Artemis. Another main character you have is Toshiro Yoshiaki, who in the Oasis plays Daito, but Toshiro is his actual name in the movie. Forgive me if I might butcher this next name. Akihide Karatsu, that's his real name in the movie, but in the Oasis, his name is Shoto. Next, we have James Halliday, who in the movie is the creator of the game, the Oasis. And in the Oasis, his name is Anorak. And finally, we get to the main antagonist, who is Nolan Sorrento in the movie, but in the Oasis, he is referred to as IOI-655321. So let's get into a little bit of the plot. This movie takes place in the year 2045. During this time, humanity has kind of given up on solving the world's problems. They just, in essence, find a way to cope with things, which actually is kind of stated in the movie. They do that by going into this virtual reality world called Oasis, which stands for Ontologically Anthropocentric Sensory Immersive Simulation. It's a lot of big words to describe this virtual reality thing. So the game's creator, James Halliday, invented this sort of Easter egg hunt for all of the gamers out there, and that's what this movie basically centers around, is that Easter egg hunt. Throughout the movie, there's various Easter eggs that James Halliday, the creator, put into the Oasis for this competition. It's not your typical straightforward challenges, if you will. If and when you watch the movie, or if you've seen the movie, then you know what I'm talking about. The way how James Halliday is in the movie is just perfect. A perfect description of a person who from childhood loved gaming to its core, to the point where they would just game nonstop. I remember being in like elementary school, junior high, and high school, and going to school, being in class, and then coming back, and all I wanted to do was hurry up and do my homework so I could play video games. Sometimes I would just say screw the homework and I play video games, but then I get in trouble. Yeah, this is a movie for gamers who just embody this mindset, you know, and actually would love to dive into virtual reality to this aspect. So from the start of the movie, we get basically introduced to the antagonists of the movie, which is the company IOI. IOI is a conglomerate owned and led by Nolan Sorrento. Nolan Sorrento is this cocky, narcissistic piece of crap dude that wants to rain on everyone's gaming parade, literally just for money. Which, I get it, in this universe, the world has gone to crap. So the basic way that anybody can make money and do anything is by going through the Oasis. He's out for himself. So he wants to win this Easter egg hunt so that he can get all that money and he can get all that fame. Or the company itself. That's what the company itself is based on. Finding James Halliday's Easter eggs and finding these keys that lead to the clues and winning the game, as they think winning the game means. There are so many Easter eggs in this thing for fellow nerds, man. From Speed Racer to Star Trek to Star Wars, The Iron Giant, Batman, Street Fighter, Last Action Hero. It is such an amazing movie, and I can't believe it took me 2 years after it was already out to see it. The hell? Let's talk about the cinematography for a little bit. Obviously, this movie was CGI heavy because it was in virtual reality. Anytime that it was in the real world, I love the way how they made the characters interact with each other. It'd be just like how it was in real life. You meet someone for the first time that you've been connecting with over social media or in a video game. You're gonna be kind of standoffish, a little awkward. Going from virtual reality to the real world and vice versa, and the way how various characters dealt with each other. The way how it was shot was just really, really impressive in my opinion. When it comes to movies like this that are more CGI heavy, you know, it can be a bit redundant, or it could get too complacent. But with this movie, there was a constant flow of not even suspense, but just a yearning for more. Obviously, when they're in the virtual world, that's in essence the best parts of the movie. Me personally, I think some of the best parts in this movie were actually when they were in the real world. I'm not gonna say any of those parts because I don't really want to ruin anything, just in case you're like me and you slept for 2 years on this movie. Also with cinematography, I like what they did with the CGI and the gaming. They didn't go too overboard until they really needed to. In fact, I really liked what they did do a lot of the times, which was a close-up on a lot of these CGI characters' faces to kind of show a little more humanity in them, just to emphasize on the fact that these are real people in this virtual world and it's actually showing their true emotions. The acting was pretty good. I really have no complaints at all about the acting in the CGI world nor in the real world. Obviously the CGI world is more voice acting and stuff, but you know, I really have no complaints in regards to acting. I think everything was pretty smooth. The only thing I would say that I might have had an issue with, which really is literally the only thing, and it's not even that big of a deal, I wouldn't even be mentioning it if I didn't want to put some kind of negative thing in this review. Various movies and TV shows do this, but they will put some kind of flaw or blemish on a seemingly attractive person and try to make that be like a huge dampering thing for their personality or for their well-being. I get it. I understand. Oh, there's people out there who have these blemishes, and while to us it might not be that big of a deal because it's like, oh, it's just a, you know, it's just a scar, or oh, it's just a birthmark. But to them, it's an entirely different thing. I understand why that needed to be part of the story, or should have been part of the story. In my opinion, that's like the only thing that I really have an issue with, because the person who has the blemish is one of the main protagonist females. Listen, that is not even slightly important, okay? It's just literally one quirk that I might have with the movie, because I don't want to say that this movie was perfect to me, because in the reality of things, this movie was phenomenal to me. Damn near flawless, honestly. The only thing that I had an issue with really was that. But hey, other than that, we good, baby. If you haven't seen it by now, please go watch it. Especially if you play video games, you know a lot about video game characters, or you read a lot of comic books, or you like anime. Check it out. I'm sure that you will like it, if not love it. Thank you guys for watching this video, and again, thank you, Anthony, for joining me. If you guys have seen this movie and you liked this review, leave a comment down below. Please interact with me, interact with Anthony. Definitely comment down below. Let's discuss. So the link to Anthony's channel will be down below in the description box. So if you're not subscribed already, definitely go over there and subscribe to his channel. He's got great videos. He does a lot of videos as well. He is bounds beyond me right now, but I'm trying to catch up to him. Thanks again, guys, for stopping by my channel. I appreciate each and every one of you that watches my videos and listens to me rant. Please like the video, comment down below your thoughts, and share this with your friends. All right, my fellow nerds, until next time.